All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ellis, that's Paul, and we're doing a quick little review for you today of Abigail, directed by...
Radio Silence.
Thank you, Paul.
You're
Directed
welcome.
by Radio Silence. All right, guys, just when you think you've seen all the vampire films that Hollywood has to offer, they offer up this little ballerina. All right. We're coming to you quite late with this review, but I seen it quite late. I wasn't rushing out to the cinemas to watch this one, folks, because the trailers weren't doing it that much for me. I just like Radio Silence's previous efforts when it comes to what was Scream 5 and Ready or Not. Was it Ready or Not?
Yep.
Ready or Not. Really good original horror film right there, with Samantha Weaving in, I think it is. Quality stuff. Was always going to keep my eye open for what they did next. But when the trailers come around for Abigail, they didn't really blow me away. But holy shit, Paul. This is one of the best films of the year, in my opinion. It really is. It's a lot of fun. I'm not saying this is highbrow cinema, people, but if you like the vampire subgenre, I think this offers pretty much everything in the bag as far as they go. I like a bit of comedy with my horrors, especially my vampire horrors. I like a bit of action in my vampire horrors. This has got it in buckets and spades. I absolutely love this film. It's one of my favorite films of the year. The effects, really outstanding practical wise. A lot of blood here. The cast is great. Who is our lead in this one, Paul?
Melissa
Barrera. So, if I'm being honest, like, I thought she was fine in the Scream movies, you know, just didn't really blow me away big style or anything like that. But in Abigail, I think she really comes through. Plays a recovering drug addict. Plays the action scenes pretty well in the third act of the movie, handled that all pretty well. Kevin Durand, who's having an awesome year this year, recently in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, who total knockout performance in that. Plays a little less smarter character in this one, but really good nonetheless. My MVP of the movie and the best part of the movie for me is Dan Stevens. I think he absolutely... Oh my God. He's so funny in this film. And he's having another brilliant year for me. So, Paul, I know you weren't a massive fan, but for me, he was one of the best parts of Godzilla vs. Kong in that film. Brought a lot of charisma to the role and brings it tenfold here. He's absolutely phenomenal, and some twists and turns that I wasn't fully expecting with Dan Stevens' character, which they have managed to keep away from the trailers, which I'm pleased about. Yeah, we all knew this was a ballerina vampire film. I think they could have done a better job at maybe hiding that, and maybe played the film as something else. But because that was, you know, revealed in the trailer, luckily the film's got enough to back the rest of it up, to make you forget about the fact that you knew what it was going in. I wish we had a dusk till dawn from dawn situation, but that's not what we got here. Paul, Abigail, what did you think of this little firecracker?
Yeah, I was all eyes on this anyway because of Radio Silence and my fandom of Scream and Ready or Not. It wasn't till the trailers sort of sold me on it. But in the back of my head, I was like, I'm going to wait for streaming for this film. More for me, because the early reviews come out for it, and they're like, get out and see this right now. So I did. I listened to Film Twitter, and I went, oh, let me go pay my ticket and go watch it then. Yeah, brilliant film. My favourite type of horror is fun horror, popcorn horror, dark comedy horror, like Scream. And this has it in spades. This has a great cast of characters. Angus Cloud, who was in Euphoria, who recently passed away, unfortunately. He's great in this film. Melissa Barrera, great in it. Catherine Newton, I love in this film. She's on my radar at the moment. Every time I see her in things, she's knocking out the park. Kevin Durant was fantastic in it. Dan Stevens, like you said, I seen him in Godzilla vs. Kong. He wasn't the problem with that film. I was just pissed off with that film in general. I just think whatever was happening in that film was just annoying me. But he was awesome in this. It takes a lot to make me laugh out loud. I was laughing out loud with some of his line deliveries in this film, especially the one about the onions. It was fantastic. I've got the garlic. That's great, but those are fucking onions.
His delivery's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great vampire movie. It's a fantastic vampire movie. The little girl playing Abigail, the lead role, Alicia Weir, I think her name is. She was in the Matilda musical. I haven't seen that, but everyone's like, it's the chick from the Matilda musical. I was like, yeah, I don't know who that is. Awesome. Absolutely incredible in this film. The way she switched it on and off from a little girl to playing a 100-year-old vampire, whatever. Incredible stuff. I was blown away by it. Blood galore. Bloodbath, this movie. Loved all of it. It was awesome. Yeah, one of my favorites of the year. It's in my top 5 still at the moment, halfway through the year. It's going to be one of them horror films that I can just watch. It's going to be a comfort horror film.
Yes.
You know, you want to sit down, comfort horror, have a laugh, have a few scares, few jumps. It's going to be one of them. That's a great movie.
Yeah. And this is full spoilers, by the way, guys, but I just want to talk a little bit more about the fact when Dan Stevens ends up changing and biting and ends up being like the sort of main villain of the film, like a little bit, like I loved that whole thing. I wasn't expecting that's the way it was going. So when it did, and Abigail and Melissa Barrera's character joined forces, I was like, oh, this has got another layer that like I wasn't fully expecting going into it. Do you know what I mean? So, and you're totally right about, I think, you're right. Alicia Weir, mate, the switch is so fantastic because she's so nondescript in like the first 15 minutes of the film, 15, 20 minutes. She's like, oh yeah, it's just another child actor. Nice one. Mate, when them fangs come out and she turns into a little beast, oh my God, it's so good. And the way she's playing with them all the time, really good. I like the house setting. It's got a little bit of like a Clue vibe going on. Like, you know, loved all that. We've got out of Breaking Bad. What is Carlos?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, mate, you nearly there. You nearly got it right. Awesome, really good in the film. Not in it a huge amount, but the little snippets he's in there, really good. One thing I wasn't expecting the film to be is basically be about Dracula's daughter. Am I right saying this is what the film's suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they say Dracula. I just presume it's like a head vampire, like the creme de la creme. Is it Laurent or I don't want to say Lestat, that's Interview with a Vampire. Yeah, it's something like Laurent or something like that. She's like the daughter. Lazar. She's sort of like the daughter of the head vampire, who she wants him to see and believe in. And the reason she's brought these people to this house is to take him out because they've all wronged him in some way in life.
Well, I sort of took it as that's her dad, and she's trying to like sort of impress him by killing all these people, get his approval, because you do find out that they've fallen out. Do you know what I mean? Like her and the father have fallen out, if that is her father. But I think it seems like it is. But our sort of Lazar, he's called. He turns up right at the end, played by Matthew Good. He was the Ozymandias in Watchmen.
Yes, he was. I just realised that. Yes.
Yeah, bit of a random actor to have as that guy, Lazar. But obviously, I think they were like, you know, let's maybe tee this up for a sequel, so we'll get like an actual named actor in. He hasn't been in loads of things. Watchmen's a favourite film of mine, so that's where I recognised him from. But yeah, guys, this was so unexpected. Good, joyful time. This a bit nasty in places, a bit horrific, but always had a smile on my face the entire time. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one. And I would love to sort of do a ranking of vampire films now, because it is a favourite subgenre of mine, Blade being one of my favourite films of all time. I'd like to see where it sort of stacks up, but it definitely falls in the camp of, like, I would say From Dusk Till Dawn, Fright Night, that sort of, where it's got like a hint of comedy in it, not taking itself too seriously. Highly recommend this one, guys. I'm actually giving it a 4 out of 5 for this one, which is pretty high, but I think people need to be seeing this film. Like, sometimes film Twitter is totally off base. They were so on base with this one, so on base, and I'm glad I watched it. Paul, what would maybe give this final thoughts and give it a little mark out of 5?
Yeah, as soon as this comes out on Blu-ray, I don't think it's been announced for 4K, but I'll be picking this up. This is going to be a staple horror movie for me. I like these sort of fun horror movies. These are the ones I gravitate towards. It's going to be one I watched on repeat. It's going to be I already knew. After I've watched it twice already, I already knew it was going to feel like a comfort horror movie. In terms of the marketing, I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, they wish they could have hid the fact that it was a vampire." I was one of them. I said it would have been so good if they could market it the way like Dust Film, where we didn't know, and that was such a big reveal, and people would have been, "Don't read anything about it, just go and watch it. Don't read, don't get spoiled by it." I just think if they would have marketed it as a people robbing a young girl movie, it wouldn't have sold as well. It didn't really sell that well anyway. I think it underperformed, unfortunately. I think it would have even more underperformed if they sold it like that. Unfortunately, it's just the way marketing works and cinema goers work at the moment. But I have said to people, if you've not seen the trailer, you don't know what it's about, don't watch it. Yeah.
You're right there. Like, if they were to market this film like as a serious sort of, oh, this gang of kidnappers kidnapped this little girl from a rich dad and stuff like, you need the marketing the way it is, because it gave you the right tone of the film. This is a fun film, and that trailer is a fun sort of vibe trailer. I just don't know how they would have done it without letting the secret out. You know what I mean? But folks, there's plenty more in this film to surprise you, keep you going with, like 100%. This isn't just like there's more than meets the eye with this film, 100%. But out of 5, Paul, what would you give it?
Yeah, I've got it a 4 out of 5 as well. It's in my top 10 at the moment. I think it's in my top 5 still at the moment, but it might drop out around half the way of the year, but it's still in my top 5.
Like, I don't even have any negatives.
That's it. Like, my only negative with this film, well, it's not a nitpick, or it's a bit of a negative, and it was only on my first view, in the first 20, because I knew where it was going. The first 20 minutes, because I knew what it was building to. I was like, oh, come on, let's get to the vampire bit now. And the first time I watched it, the first 10 minutes when you were introducing these characters, some of the language and dialogue was a little bit off. I was like, I'm not really vibing with these guys. But once they got in the house and they started interacting with each other, I started liking the cast of characters. Now, when I watched it the second time, because I knew where the film was going, I was like, I like this ensemble cast of characters, so I'm in from the start now. Yeah.
Guys, can't recommend this one highly enough. If you haven't seen Abigail, I'm sure it'll be hitting streaming pretty soon, if not already. Go and check this one out. You'll have a whale of a time. This has been the Total Movie Recall channel. I've been Ellis. That's been Paul. And we'll catch you next time, folks.